Okay, now we're recording. So real quick, I'm going to go through the Bears free agents because I'm got some time to kill. I was doing a little research for the radio show, which starts at top of the hour. So I was looking through all the free agents, news and notes. So I just figured I'd do a quick little recording here of the Bears free agents that may come back or no chance to come back. I'll run through each of them. Todd Collins, no chance that guy comes back. Brad Maynard is going to be a free agent, and it came out since the lockout has become official. Lovie Smith called Brad and said he will not be coming back to the Bears. That's a shame. I like Brad Maynard. He's a good guy. He was a good punter. It was a nice little trio the Bears have had for a while. Maynard's been here 10 years, which is hard to believe. He's outlasted Jerry Angelo and Lovie Smith. He's been here longer than both those guys. Breaks up the trio of him and Robbie Gould and Pat Maynard. Or not Patrick Manley, not Maynard. Maynard's gone. Olin Kreutz, he's got to come back. The Bears just have to. I mean, there's no top really free agent centers out there. They did not draft a center. It'd be nice to see Olin end his career with the Bears. Des Clark, when I talked to him on my radio show a few weeks ago, he'd love nothing more than to come back to the Bears. But it just doesn't look like the Bears are going to bring him back. They got Greg Olsen, they got Colin Davis, and they got Brandon Maliuna. Mike Martz didn't seem to like him. They couldn't find a use for him. I mean, even when he was active, he was mostly the third string tight end, which it was a very drastic change from possibly in the preseason where he was the starting tight end or starting H-back or whatever they want to call him. He's probably Olsen rounded into shape, but Des Clark was probably the best all-around tight end out of the four guys. But Olsen's the starter. Even if they probably traded Greg Olsen last year like they talked, then Des Clark would probably be coming back. He's probably going to look for a team in the South. Maybe him and Tony Gonzalez could coexist at a two-way tight end set for the Falcons. I know he lives down in Florida. He'd probably like to stay close to the family. But he is chasing that ring. He's looking for a best-case scenario. Anthony Adams, my guess is he comes back. I think he wants to be a Bear. He fits. I don't know if you can really lose Anthony Adams and Tommy Harris in the same offseason. That's a drastic hit to your D tackles. So I would say Anthony Adams is probably coming back. Tisa Moa. He's so injury plagued. I think they're going to try to get someone the likes of Nick Roach to re-sign first. If Roach bolts and they don't get another option, then I could see Pisa coming back, but that's the only situation I see him coming back. I think they like Nick Roach better. Both are injury-plagued guys. They're never going to spend big money on a third linebacker who comes off the field in nickel situations. Not when you have Briggs and Urlacher. So don't look for a big-name guy. They're only signing guys if the price is right there. But they definitely do want production. They want someone to be able to take on that tight end. Josh Bullock's, maybe. I don't know. It could go either way. They could bring him back. They could not. May depend on Daniel Manning. They might bring him back because he knows the system. But, I mean, this is going to be one of those interesting parts about free agency. These guys might already have a team. Someone might call them, and they don't even have a chance to call the Bears back. Bullock is going to want to be one of those guys that fills out the roster. Rasheed Davis, my guess is he's probably done. They're talking. They already got Hester. They got Johnny Knox. They got Earl Bennett. There's talk that they're interested in Brad Smith, and you have Brad Smith, who possible kick returner, punt returner, slot receiver, third receiver, whatever you want to call it. There's probably no real place for Rasheed Davis, especially when they got Andy Fouts or whatever his name from the CFL. They didn't bring that guy on not to use him. So they're not going to keep six receivers, not with their three tight ends. So Rasheed Davis, I mean, they could bring him back on a deal, but you're not going to pay big money to a guy you know is not going to be any higher than your fourth receiver. Brian Uwe, maybe as a line. I mean, they love special teams guys, so maybe he comes back. Daniel Manning is probably going to be gone. It's why they're looking at other kick returners, so they have guys to replace him, so Hester doesn't have to shoulder load, because they think Hester's a number one. So he's probably going to get too much money and go somewhere else, which is a shame. He's a good safety cornerback. He kind of could play anywhere, which was good. Rodriguez Wilson, if you don't even remember seeing the guy on the field, he's not coming back. I mean, Rod Wilson, maybe. He could be another guy where if they don't get Roach or Pisa, he's probably the third option to come back. Corey Graham, he just really dropped off after a pretty impressive first 2 years. He's a nice corner. They might bring him back because they didn't draft him, but I don't know what they're thinking at corner. I mean, they can lose a lot. If they lose Daniel Manning, they probably bring Corey Graham back. Nick Roach, I think him and Olin are the top targets of the free agents they have. And then Garrett Wolf, I think he's gone. I think he did not fit well in Ron Turner's offense, didn't fit well in Mike Martz's offense. He's a good special teams player. Maybe they could have brought him back if the price was right, but they already have Forte. They're going to have to pay Forte, too. They got Chester Taylor. They got the kid they drafted out BYU last year in the supplemental draft. They're just probably – and they got Khalil Bell. They just don't have a spot for Garrett Wolf, and when he got in trouble with the law, that was probably the final straw. So that's it. Those are the Bears' unrestricted free agents. They don't have a list yet for the restricted free agents for everyone, but I don't think the Bears had a lot of restricted free agents. So that's it. Got some things to do in the next 20 minutes or so before the show starts, so stay tuned. I'll be back shortly.